to a brand new episode of Backstage 360. And there's a little girl power happening this week. I'll have a sit-down chat with Hope McIntyre, and she is the founder and producer of Sarasvati Productions. And then we will have the all-female film team talking about their new film, The Orange Daisy Project. Plus, we'll have another episode of Backstage Beautiful with Shauna and Daria. Now, coming up, we go behind the scenes with another Backstage Pass.
Queen that day, in a service unchanged in 1,000 years. On my head they put St. Edward's crown, once considered a holy relic.
Welcome to Backstage Pass. Well, folks, this is what happens at Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, getting ready for the big show. Well, the show is called The Audience,
The
correct,
Audience,
John?
by Peter Morgan.
Oh, there you go. You are brilliant.
The same fellow who wrote The Crown, or one of the writers on The Crown, which is on Netflix right now, which is about the young queen and her beginnings.
And this is what you do to get into your character, or multiple characters. So you play...
I play Winston Churchill, who was her first prime minister, and the play is about, it's set in the audience room at Buckingham Palace and Balmoral, and it's her weekly meetings with 8 of the 12 prime ministers that she reigned over or worked with her, and so it really we learn a lot about the Queen through those relationships. Now, they were private audiences, right? So no one really knows exactly what happened in the room, but these are fictions based on Peter Morgan's research and understanding of her relationship with the various prime ministers. So it's a lovely piece.
Oh, yes, and while as an audience member, we are going to see a fantastic performance. But right now, this is where everything gets, down and gritty and dirty. You're learning your lines. What are we going to see today?
We're just at the beginning of the second week of rehearsal, so we're still on our feet. We're still blocking and shaping the shape of the show while we're trying to discover our characters and our relations and stuff like that. So it's quite a busy and stressful and complex time for all of us. And I think we're going to be seeing, if I'm not correct, our first blocking of a coronation scene that takes place at the end of the first act. And we haven't even touched this scene yet. So
wow. Okay, so blocking, for those of us not in theater land, what does that mean?
Blocking refers to the movement, the movement of the actors on the stage and how they relate. And it's not just a question of just positioning them to make pretty pictures, but it's also affected by the relationships and the dynamic between each of the actors as well. So during the rehearsal process, you're looking at character, you're looking at relationship, you're learning your lines along the way, and also you're getting on your feet and trying to move the piece as you explore it. The challenge and the thrill and the excitement of acting is to rediscover it as a new thing each night. So it's not, we haven't, on the 100th performance isn't the 100th time you've done it, it's the first time you've done it. So
folks, we are going to leave the rehearsal hall and take you now into wardrobe. Our journey continues on The Audience.
The costumes were built in Niagara-on-the-Lake at the Shaw Festival by a lovely lady named Avril Stevenson, whom I've known for, I think, close to 4 decades now. So they were all made out there, and they come here. We've got enough work with the rest of the show. We started back the beginning of October, and we have a whole compilation of things. We have suits that we've purchased, suits that have come from stock, suits that we're making, ladies' dresses that we're making. So yes, the rest of the cast is keeping us busy. We've got reproductions made in England of one of the Queen's tiaras and one of her necklaces. Valuable stock items, I'm sure. And then we've rented a lot of the royal regalia for the coronation scene from Angels, the costumier in London, England. We want the audience to enjoy looking at it. We want the costumes not really to stand out, but be an integral part of the whole show. It just has to all work together. It's a very collaborative work form. It'll be on stage, it'll be on time, and I think people, especially given that it's the Queen's 90th birthday this year, birthday, yes, 91st year. We just hope they'll come out and really, really enjoy it.
I am standing beside the coat of arms of Her Majesty the Queen of England. We are doing a play in which Her Majesty is the star, and she is speaking with her prime ministers. And she is doing that underneath this cartouche, as we call it, which is on the pediment, outside several pediments of Buckingham Palace. And it has her royal coat of arms, the lion and the unicorn. We have carved this out of styrofoam rather than stone. It would take too long in stone. And it will be way up high in the air, and it will be there for all of the play. The reference that we're using is a photograph that we took, which is a picture of the actual coat of arms carved in stone, which is above the famous balcony at Buckingham Palace, where you always see them waving. We have had to do quite a lot of research, because there are a lot of people who know exactly what is in Buckingham Palace, because it's been photographed, it's been in movies, and so we're trying to reproduce good-looking furniture and good-looking little pieces for the audience to enjoy.
The girls, as you call them, they're the painters. They're all, Sue's a scenic artist, and they're all going along and trying to paint everything that we fabricated. Louis down there is building one of 6 doors, and beyond the other wall is where the actual carpentry shop is. So we build it in there, we bring it in here, it gets finished, we set it up, and then we take it out on stage. This show here, we're trying a new product. Instead of using Luan mahogany plywood for the flats, we're using this Integra ply, which is actually a subfloor product. It's poplar plywood. And we're just trying to see how it actually takes paint and stuff, because the show's got to be pristine, being that it's the palace.
You're going to be seeing the palace up there.
Oh yes, I'll be seeing the palace. Just like I saw Sherwood Forest, and just like I saw the inside of some little house or Ed's Garage or any of the other shows.
The most important moment of my life, above marriage, above motherhood, was when I became consecrated, becoming queen, not just in the eyes of the people, but in the eyes of God.
Nothing can stop us, we're on the edge. Don't look down tonight.
There is one little theater that could, right here in Winnipeg, that produces some really amazing theater, and that is Sarasvati Productions, celebrating their 16th season now, Hope?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, founder and incredible, I guess, theater manager and playwright and everything else that comes under your hat. Sarasvati Productions really is your baby. And let's go back, because, I mean, 16 years now. How has it grown, and how did it come to be, Hope?
Well, I mean, essentially, when I finished my studies, I wanted to do theater that I felt had an impact. So it was hard to find existing companies or work that I felt was having a significant social change in our community. So I decided to, with colleagues and other artists who felt the same, we founded Sarasvati Productions, originally in Toronto, because that's where I was at the time. But then I had all these friends here in Winnipeg saying what a great cultural community it was, and how a company like Sarasvati would do really well. And so came here 16 years ago, and it started, yeah, very, very small, and has grown over the years, and not grown too much, which I think is important, that we're still very grassroots, and it's really about community-based work.
Certainly. Now, you just mentioned you celebrated the 16th season, or 15th season of FemFest, and now this festival really put you on the map, I think, dealing, you know, with women's issues and, you know, plays written for women, which rarely was done back then. And now, I guess, what are the challenges, and how have you seen that grown?
I think there's still challenges. You know, we We wish that we didn't still have to do FemFest. I mean, we love doing FemFest, but our goal really is to make it obsolete because women are getting the same opportunities on main stages. We're not there yet, but we have seen some of our artists from FemFest go on to have more productions, you know, really develop their craft. So that's been great. And we as a festival have had to kind of look at, okay, how can we continue to serve the changing community? And so this past FemFest, we actually brought our first trans artist in because, you know, even the definition of gender is changing. So it's been really exciting to look at, well, what does that mean as artists, and how can we provide opportunities to people who aren't usually given a voice?
I guess your thoughts and comments now on the women in our theater community.
It's amazing, you know, they often, what I've heard over the last 20 years, say, as I started my career and everything, was, well, we just can't find good plays written by women, or they're so hard to find, or where are they? And they're there, and we have worked with hundreds and hundreds of female playwrights, performers, directors, and I think, you know, unfortunately, women haven't always been taught to promote themselves and to be like, I'm great, you should read my work, because we're, you know, told to be humble and to be gracious. And when a woman is too aggressive or assertive, it's usually a negative thing, unfortunately, in our culture. So what I've learned is that the work is there, the artists are there, and they are so talented. And we just have to provide them with the showcase because they haven't had that opportunity yet.
Yeah. Would you say now it's a level playing field for women versus men in the theater, whether it's on stage or off stage?
I wouldn't say we're there yet. Unfortunately, the statistics are still showing that plays written by women in Canadian theaters are still only like 30% of what we're seeing on stages. And it's the same in Hollywood. It's the same in, you know, all kinds of industries and sciences. And it takes a lot of time for that change to happen because I think it's just been so ingrained historically. Like we think of Shakespeare and Ibsen and Shaw, but we haven't had that history of role modeling and mentorship for women. So I think it's going to take more time yet. But what I have seen has been really wonderful, like to see the work of these women going on and getting produced is fabulous.
And now we head into your season, well underway. There's some exciting things though coming up in 2017 for you.
Absolutely. We are always blown away by how much support we get from the community and about how we can use theater to really address the issues that we're seeing in the community. So we've launched the season with FemFest, and then now we're in the midst of a high school tour of Shattered. So 2 years ago we launched this mental health project, which was about gathering stories around mental health, and we've created a youth play, which was the young people's stories, and it's touring in high schools into December, and it's amazing because it's interactive, so the young people get to be empowered by coming up and changing the story. But also on a kind of separate trajectory, we've been creating a full-length play that covers all the stories of all ages that we've heard, and that's going to premiere in May of 2017.
Oh, fabulous. And then you've got the monologue series coming up in March. And I guess lastly, we have talked about and we know about the growing multicultural community. You know,
Absolutely.
We're having more immigrants come in and they bring a whole wide source of different talents to the table. But you need to facilitate, so some exciting news.
Yeah, we're really excited that we have kind of two things happening in order to help bring in a new pool of artists and new voices and cultural representation. One is that with the Cabaret of Monologues, we're actually gathering stories from the newcomer community, and we're hoping as part of the kind of Canada 150 funding to launch a new project called New Beginnings, which will be stories of newcomers, but also finding those recent immigrants and refugees who were artists in their home country and providing them with a forum. And then we've also separately received funding from Neighborhoods Alive. We're located in the north end of Winnipeg, and we'll be doing workshops with Indigenous and newcomer youth in the north end to help train them, because we can't always find the actors that are diverse that we want to use in our projects. So now we have to create a kind of process for them to be able to graduate into being in the productions.
Oh, well, you say that, you know, you would like to keep your company small, but I think it's growing now globally in a sense, and we're so happy and so proud of all the work. I guess lastly for you personally, this whole journey, how has it been for you?
It's been amazing, and I think sometimes, you know, people say, oh, you deal with such heavy issues and that must be difficult, and it is, but it's also inspiring because we get to see how telling the stories can affect people. And we've had so many people thank us for allowing other people to understand what they've been through. We've seen the impact of that. And so as an artist, you know, I was conflicted when I started about, do I want to be an artist or do I want to be an activist? And I've had this wonderful opportunity of doing both, and it's been really rewarding.
Oh, well. Thank you so much, Hope.
Thank you.
Please, please go out and see a Sarasvati production play. You'll always, always remember it, and one of the little gems right here in our city. After the break, it's Snack in a Movie, and we'll meet the talented group of filmmakers that take on the powerful stories of the Orange Daisy Project.